And a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Issues and Attitudes. My name is Jeff Owens, Director at WEIU. My co-host is Corbin Cox. Welcome, Corbin.
Hello.
Today we're talking all things Tarble Arts Center here on the campus of EIU. In studio, Gisela Alvarez. Welcome, Gisela.
Hi, thank you.
Exhibitions and Collections Manager is your title officially. And Kaen Henry, Assistant Director of Public Engagement, correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to have you move that a little bit closer to you, Gisela. Well, thanks for coming in. Let's just start off with maybe a little bit of background on Tarble Arts, your mission and your focus, and what you do here on campus.
Would you like me to take this one?
Yes, please.
So the Tarble Arts Center, we are an institution that is artist. We approach everything with an artist-centered approach. We have 3 exhibition cycles, fall, winter, and spring. We have different spaces for students, study spaces. We also have social events, educational programming, we try our best to serve EIU and students in these capacities.
Okay. Kaen, you like to add anything?
Our big thing is that we are the teaching museum on the campus of Eastern Illinois University. Along with the students that we serve, we also serve the community of Charleston area and beyond.
Okay.
Give us a little bit of background about yourselves, how you wound up here, what drew you to here.
I'll start since I've been here for a while. I was a student worker at the Tarble when I was getting my BFA in graphic design. So I started at the Tarble as a student designer, and then after I graduated, I decided to do my MA here, and then became the graduate assistant. And then after I graduated there, the Tarble never really got rid of me. And now I've worked my way up to my current position of Assistant Director of Public Engagement.
Gisela?
I came here from Freeport, Illinois. I lived up there for a couple of years, and before that, I was in Florida. I did my graduate work at University of Florida, and went from Freeport to here as a collection and exhibitions manager. That's pretty much it. My background is in art history, contemporary, and modern art, mostly contemporary.
Okay, cool. We always like to talk about the student involvement. So when you talk about student involvement, is there student displays and exhibits over there? And how does that all work?
Yeah, so we have multiple ways that we involve students. One of them is our current exhibitions that we have on display. The undergraduate student exhibition, and then the graduate art exhibition. Gisela can probably talk more about
the undergraduate exhibition is really cool because they have to submit anywhere from 1 to 5 works online and apply to get into the exhibition. And then we have guest jurors come in, and they decide who gets to be in the exhibition, and we're just the hosts pretty much. And there's also an award ceremony given to the students. So I think we had over maybe 200 works submitted this year, and I think somewhere around 80. We had 49 students apply. So it ends up being a really great show. It's one of my favorites to see student work and to see local work. And it's really strong this year.
That's cool.
What does it mean to students to have their art shown in an exhibit like this? Like, do you guys get to talk to them and be like, how does that affect them?
Yeah, so we actually have, 3 of our student workers submitted work and made it into the show, and it's really great to be able to talk to them and see how it makes them feel. All of our students that were in the show also won awards, which is amazing to see that, because this is a juror from outside sources, so we don't have any say in who gets in the show, but to be able to see that the students that we employ are doing really well in their academic career.
They always seem really excited. I know I heard some students, as they saw all the other work that was when they drop off work, students observe the other work in the show and they say, man, I just don't think my work is up to par, because you're always more critical of yourself than other people are, and then they end up winning an award in the show. So it's always really exciting. It's good professional development for students looking to get into the field of art and museum work, because they have to abide by certain guidelines and stuff. So it's a great experience as far as growth goes for students, and they are always really exciting. They always seem very excited to see their work in a museum.
When you talk about art, and maybe for the naive person, are these sculptures, paintings, a combination of both, 3D, or what do they actually have on display over there?
So we have 2D and 3D. And we have a lot of graphic design work too. So they enter in anything, like really any medium. We have some video stuff. We have large sculptures. We have some jewelry. We have smaller scale sculptures, large drawings, large paintings, small. So it's really just a variety of everything.
So there really aren't no rules as long as it classifies as art.
And it was made in an art class here.
Okay.
So.
They had to have taken art here.
Okay. That's kind of cool. And when you think about it. Now, do you guys have art backgrounds? Have you created stuff, or are you more just into what you do?
Yeah, I have. So I have my background. I'm a designer by trade. But I also got my MA in studio art, so I do consider myself a conceptual artist. There's an exhibition that the Tarble, a biennial exhibition that the Tarble does, that invites community members, anyone who's a part of the Tarble community, whether that's artists we've worked with before, people at EIU, the people that work at Tarble. It's a flat file exhibition called Touch Me. And 2 years ago, I put my work in a little zine designed work. So.
And I also have a background in art. So my undergrad, I did both art and art history, because I couldn't decide which I wanted to do. So I have an art minor, but I did all the work for an art major. And then I also wrote an art historical thesis. And then I decided to go the art history route thereafter. But I do have a body of work that I should really revisit. Maybe Touch Me.
Why not?
Now, you've mentioned that twice. What is Touch Me?
All right, so do you want to?
I can start. So so Kaen already said it's a flat file exhibition. So again, people, artists, members of the community, if you've had any kind of interaction with Tarble, you can submit, is it up to 10?
Yep.
Up to 10 artworks, and we do pick those, which ones get in, or are they just allowed in?
I think they're just allowed in unless they're obviously
right, and not within the parameters of the community. And so we put them in these flat files, which are pretty much, it's kind of like a filing cabinet, but with really narrow, long drawers that you can pull out. And people, the public, are allowed to come in, put on gloves, and actually flip through the artwork, which is not usually allowed in a museum. So it's a cool opportunity to have a more tactile relationship with the art, rather than just sitting back and looking at it with this no touch rule that you get in all museums.
That's cool. And the funny thing is, we're neighbors to the Tarble Art Center. I don't think until today it's never been called a museum, so I've never heard it referred to as that. That's kind of cool. And
yeah.
Just a side note there, I never thought about that.
Yeah, we are an AAM accredited museum.
We always say you learn one thing a day, you're better, right?
There we
Now,
go.
what's on right now? If someone was going to walk into the Tarble Art Center this week, what would be on exhibit?
Right now is the undergraduate and graduate exhibition. I talked more about the undergraduate exhibition, but it's also thesis work for this year's graduating graduates. And actually, the closing of that show is this Friday. So also open to the public, free entry, and there's also an award ceremony. So it's the last chance to see all the work on display and to celebrate celebrate all of the really great art and hard work and commitment that our students have put into the field.
Now, outside of like exhibits that come and go, do you guys have a permanent collection of art there?
Yes, we do. We have a permanent collection of about 1,500 objects.
That's all?
Well, it's a lot to get to know, I'll tell you that. Yes, we have a permanent collection. We have some really cool stuff in there. It's a lot of folk art, regional artists. We have a big collection of Paul Sargent. He's a big name around here that I just learned coming to the area, but it's painterly, impressionistic work. So in the same vein as like, Monet, for those of you that don't know those terms. And then next fall, in 2025, we're putting together a collection exhibition. Actually, it's still in the works. We're still getting out, working out details, but we're going to start pulling artwork from the collection, and some of this stuff hasn't been seen for a long time or hasn't been seen at all. So, and we'll have a bunch of social media stuff to alert everybody to the opening of the exhibition, but typically it's in the end of September.
Okay. Now, that was a great question. For the permanent, how does one get to be? I mean, who decides that something is going to be permanently on display, or at least at Tarble for some displays as I'm sure they rest and come back?
So the Tarble, like most museums, has a collection policy which lays out the parameters within which that you can collect. So we can't just go collect anything. It has to fit within our mission. So regional artists, contemporary art, typically it's relevant to the community or to the larger conversation of art history, but there is a parameter, and there's also a collections committee. So when somebody wants to gift something to the Tarble, or if we see something that would be a great addition to the collection, it goes through the committee and we all decide. So
that's kind of stuff you learn about behind the scenes. You ever have artists just walk in off the street and want to take a look around and maybe talk about whether they can submit something, or what are the rules there? Does that happen a lot or not? Or any?
I'm coming up on my first year, so he might.
Artists don't usually come in and talk in person. I feel like we get a lot of
emails.
Emails.
All right.
Which is easier for us to sort of figure out like our approach, because we do plan so far in ahead that if we get questions like, can I put on a show next year, it's like we already have like
booked out.
Yeah,
we're already talking about 2026 stuff, so.
That's crazy.
That was going to be my next question is, when do you start planning for, like, you guys call it the cycles. When do you start planning for each cycle?
As early as possible, and sometimes it works out that you don't have as much time as you would like, and other times it works out like now, where we're starting to talk a couple years in advance, and hopefully even more. I mean, I've been in institutions where they've talked like 5 years in advance because they've been that booked up. So one of the great things about having a little extra help as a collections staff member is that you have help planning those things further ahead of time. So yeah, 2026 is already in the works. We're already thinking about that.
That's kind of neat. Now, do you have annual events or fundraisers or things that you put on? I know you talked about the display stuff, but is there anything that you do like, community-wise? It's just one of those standout events that you want to talk about?
Yeah, and one that's coming up in May. We work with the Coles County Arts Council to put on Surprise. It's a micro-funded, crowdsourced event where attendees pay $10 cash at the door for a bowl of soup and a ballot, and then they vote on 5-minute proposals given by those seeking funds for initiatives that support art, creativity, and community.
That's neat. Yeah.
And so that is going to be, this year it's going to be May 18th. It's that same Saturday every May. And the proposals for that are due May 1st, so there's still time if anyone has a cool idea that.
So if you're an art-related, business slash whatever,
Yeah.
you could propose to get a little more extra money from some of the people that come and take part in it.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do something to give back to the community, last year's soup prize ended up in what is it called? The little seed house. It's kind of like those little libraries that you
it's
see
like
on
a seed
corners.
exchange
Okay.
library.
Seed exchange library
Okay.
instead
So-
of books.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be like really directly art related. I think it's just more about like the creativity
Betterment of the community,
and the community,
yeah.
and it has to have an outcome in Coles County in 1 year's time. So that's our only stipulation.
Yeah, and there's you can enter your proposal on our website, right?
Yeah.
Under-
What's the website if people want to know? Or just Google Tarble, right?
Oh yeah, you can go to tarbleartscenter.org, and then we have a little opportunities section, and from there you can see what we have coming up.
And then on May 18th, come have soup.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
What kind of soup?
This year, it's going to be.
I'm putting you on the spot.
I'm donating the soup this year, actually. I'm making it. It's a traditional Cuban black bean soup with, hopefully, I'll get a side of white rice in there, too, because that's. But you can eat it as just a soup, too. It's delicious.
I also hear that there's going to be homemade bread
Yes.
to go with the soup.
There you go. Is there an exhibition that it kind of influenced you when you were younger, that just like you went to see something and you're like, wow, I know that art or art history or museums were going to be a big part of your life? Did something happen? Do you remember?
So I've always been interested in art, and I was always doodling as a kid. And I started taking art more seriously in high school. But the defining moment for me that made me choose this career was it wasn't an exhibition. It was a class that I took on Andy Warhol. And it was such an excellent course that I just was like, okay, art history is this thing I want to do. And then from there, I was able to use research grants to go see some more inspiring exhibitions. Particularly, I went to New York and went to Jeff Koons' retrospective exhibition, and then I did like all the big museums in New York, MoMA, the Met, the Whitney, and the Guggenheim. So that was, in my undergrad, is like the defining moment for me on the career choice.
That's a good answer. You got to top that one there.
I can't top that one. I can say that growing up in local to this area, I didn't really feel like I had a whole lot of access to museums. So I've been on field trips to like the St. Louis Art Museum, the Art Institute in Chicago, big museums that were maybe a little overwhelming. But then coming here to Eastern, and then as a student going to the Tarble before I worked there, and then especially after working at the Tarble, really showed me how design influences museums, which I thought was really interesting and really cool. So the Tarble really has helped me.
So you're local and you're national, I guess, which is a good mix, right? There you go.
We make a good team.
Yeah.
We're talking today with Tarble Art Center's Gisela Alvarez and Kaen Henry, all things Tarble. Corbin?
So my next question is for you. So you're the assistant director of public engagement. How busy are you guys often? Do you get a lot of people coming in? And what are kind of some struggles you face with getting people into the Tarble and seeing the exhibits?
We are not as busy as we want to be for just like general admissions, but all of our opening receptions are well attended, and I think that's like where we get the most people. We also have a wellness program, a monthly wellness program. So we have the New Moon Yoga and the Full Moon Sound Bath that promote community wellness. Those are really successful, specifically the sound bath, because it happens at 5, so 5 to 6. People get off work, want to do some meditation. Those have been really successful in getting an audience that we're not used to getting, people that maybe aren't used to going to an art museum, aren't coming just for the art, but coming for the experience. And I think our job here is to teach them about the art while they're here and how meditation and art connects. But one of our big struggles with engagement is the student body. I think it's hard to, we have so many opportunities for students. We have study spaces available, but it's really hard to get students to, I think, feel comfortable coming into an art museum.
It's the first time when people walk in, and after that they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And kind of,
Yeah.
to get them in the door. There you go. Speaking of that, when you have students and you deal with students, what kind of things are on their mind? What do they ask you if they're a new art student here on campus? Whether they come from around here or not. Do they have questions that kind of stand out in your minds?
A lot of them want to know how they can work at the Tarble. I think they walk in and they see the great exhibitions that we offer, and some of them, like Kaen was saying, do come to yoga and especially the Crystal Bowl sound baths, and I think that's a good entryway, and so they always want to get involved in that way. And then when I start to talk to them about how we have the spaces open for them to utilize, like if the library's a little busy or if their dorm room's a little loud, that we have spaces there where they can come, and it's usually very quiet. So yeah, there's a lot of interest I've seen in how a museum functions, what goes into putting up an exhibition, installing an exhibition, and they're always really interested in that, from my experience. Do you have any others?
Yeah, I work with a lot of our student workers, so I have a pretty big communications team, social media. We have like writing opportunities, and I feel like we get a lot of interest in people wanting to join that team.
Is there something that's I always say, what's the best part and the toughest part of your jobs? I mean, could you expand, talk about that? I'll let you go first, Gisela.
You can take this one if I get. The first thing that came to mind is we do a lot and we have a small staff. So that's probably one of the more challenging aspects of the job. And do you want to take the best?
The best, I mean, being around artwork and meeting artists that are internationally known, like
yes, like
Miho
Hattori.
That must have been a big
It
one.
was a highlight. Last fall's exhibition, Miho Hattori is an internationally known artist and musician who was on an old band called Chibomato in the 90s, and more currently, she was Noodle.
She was the first voice of Noodle in the first Gorillaz album. So,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Jeff definitely knows what that is.
I do. Well, I think because I'm trying to. Oh, Ethan is a big Gorillaz fan. That's his favorite band here. So.
Yeah, that's probably definitely the best is getting.
And she was so sweet, so amazing to work with.
Yeah.
We have about 5 minutes left today with Gisela Alvarez and Kaen Henry. Is there anything that you want to talk about, that maybe events or exhibits that are coming up that we forgot to ask you about that you want to at least talk about with Tarble?
One cool thing that I'm excited about that coming up this next year, I am introducing a zine library to the Tarble. It's sort of a passion project of mine that I've been so lucky to be able to take one of our spaces, our design lab, and start building a little library of zines created by community members, by artists, by our staff, and I'm really looking forward to launching that in next fall.
Another thing, we mentioned the closing this Friday, but there's also going to be this thing we do called Noontime Talks. And this round of Noontime Talks are the graduate students. So they're going to be talking more in depth about their work. So if you come in and see the work, we have some information on the labels, but it's really great to get insight from the artist, what they were thinking, what their process was, and it's open to the public. You can ask, whatever questions that might interest you. So Noontime Talks are Fridays at noon, but this is the last one because the exhibition closes. And that's something that happens during the fall exhibition too.
Now in the summer, will there be something new moving in, or are you kind of getting ready for the fall? How's that work?
Yeah, our summers are big planning time.
Getting ahead on getting some stuff done on projects that you're too busy to do during the school year because of programming. So we are gonna plan for the fall. Pretty much that's the summer focus.
Yeah.
Updating buildings and
Yeah.
updating the building and stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
How are some ways people can support the Tarble? Do you guys take donations? Do you have something they can contribute to, or is it just showing up?
All of the above, right?
Oh yeah, all of the above. Definitely showing up is the best thing you can do. Follow us on social media. Come to all of our openings. They're all free. They're all open to the public. We have a couple that may be members only. So if you want to come to those, you can become a member of the Tarble, which is as low as $50 a year. We have 4 tiers. They go up. You get more out of it. You can find all that information again on our website, tarbleartscenter.org.
It's because of things like memberships and engagement that we're able to keep our programming and our admission free to the public. So really just like Kaen said, visiting, and if you want to do more than visit, we have a membership program.
Cool. All right, time for the world famous, unrelated, but kind of related questions. We'll go down the order, and you can answer as well, Corbin, when you have, if it matters, or if it applies, I guess. Favorite artist, any genre, whatever. If you have a favorite artist, it's just your person.
Favorite artist, Francis Bacon.
Oh, nice choice. It would probably be Andy Warhol.
I really like Edward Hopper.
Okay. Style of art that you love the best.
I'm a design guy, so
That's
just
right.
graphic design is my...
Contemporary conceptual art, the art that you look at and you're like, why is this cube art? That's the stuff I like.
Skip me for this one.
Okay. Do you have an all-time favorite painting in the world?
Oh.
The Mona Lisa question, I guess. This one.
Yeah. Favorite painting is probably, I don't even know what it's called, but the one by Francis Bacon that's in the Batman movie with the slabs of meat behind that guy.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Anything from Andy Warhol's Death and Disaster series. You can look that up on your own. It's kind of gruesome, but it's pretty relevant for what was going on at the time.
Real quickly, how many art galleries or museums have you visited in your life? Rough guess, just rough guess.
Probably like 15.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to say somewhere around there, 20 maybe.
All right, we are out of time. Thanks so much. Great to
Thank-
meet you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.